The story. The last box. Silence. That was the first thing David, 58, noticed. His childhood home, once filled with noise, the hum of the TV from the basement, the ring of the rotary phone in the kitchen, the thunder of feet on the stairs, the laughter was now empty and eerily quiet. This was the last day. The house was sold. David stood in the middle of the living room, where the orange shag carpet used to be. The afternoon sun cut through the window, illuminating the tiny dust motes dancing in the still air. He looked outside, watching a neighborhood kid walk by, eyes glued to a phone screen, wireless earbuds in. The boy never looked up. David shook his head, a sad smile flickering. He went down to the wood-paneled basement. Everything was gone, except for one thing. The last box. It sat there, an old cardboard box, with Mom and Dad's keepsakes written on the side. He knelt, opening the flaps. Inside, there was nothing of value, just the debris of a life gone by. A thick Eaton's catalogue, a scuffed hockey puck, a folded paper map, and, tucked in a corner, a Super 8 film reel. He picked up the reel, running his thumb over the plastic. He closed his eyes. Close your eyes for just a moment. The year is 1975. David smiled. He could almost smell it. The coffee brewing in the kitchen, while Gordon Lightfoot drifted softly from the radio. And for one perfect moment, everything in the world felt exactly right. Want to go back? Somewhere between the smell of fresh-cut grass on a Saturday morning and the sound of kids laughing down the street. Canada had something truly special in the 1,970 seconds. Life moved slower back then, simpler, in ways that are hard to explain. The kind of simple where a Saturday meant riding your bike until your legs hurt and your lungs burned. Where dinner happened at 6 o'clock sharp with the whole family gathered around one table, and where the biggest decision you'd make all day involved whether to watch cartoons or head outside to see what adventures were waiting. This wasn't some romanticized fantasy. Millions of Canadians, we actually lived this life, breathed this air, felt this freedom. And if you grew up in those years, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Home.
That feeling deep
like
in
a
your
wonderful
chest,
adventure.
that freedom
He must
that
be very
seemed
happy now.
endless, that sense that the world made sense, and tomorrow would probably be even better than today. David opened his eyes. The silence of the basement rushed back in. He stood up, carrying the box, and went upstairs. He walked into the empty kitchen. He unconsciously reached out, his fingers touching the wall where the avocado green rotary phone used to hang. Only 2 screw holes and a faded patch of paint remained. Picture a typical Canadian neighborhood in the mid-1970 seconds. This very neighborhood, bungalows line quiet streets where maple trees cast long shadows across freshly mowed lawns. Station wagons sit peacefully, their fake wood paneling gleaming. David stared at the empty space where the refrigerator used to be. Inside those homes, avocado green appliances hummed quietly. Dads flipped through the thick Eaton's catalog. A rotary phone hung on the wall, right here. Its long spiral cord stretched. No one locked their doors. Why would they? Everyone knew everyone. Trust was the foundation. And outside belonged entirely to the kids. He walked into the empty living room. He stood in the corner where the old console TV once dominated, where the orange shag carpet used to be. Summer mornings wake up naturally, and then vanish into the neighborhood until lunch. Bikes were absolute freedom on 2 wheels. Some had banana seats. Some had playing cards clipped to the spokes. No helmets, no knee pads, no rules, except the big one. David smiled. The universal law. Be home before the streetlights came on.
See you tonight.
He looked
Have
out
a
the
good
front
day.
window. Evening was setting in. The streetlights flickered on a harsh, cold, modern LED white. It wasn't the warm orange glow, he remembered, when those lights flickered to life. You dropped everything and pedaled home as fast as you could. The streetlights meant dinner, and dinner meant family. He looked into the empty dining room, a lump forming in his throat, and inside, the kitchen smelled like home. Roast beef and potatoes, hamburger helper, and sometimes, if you were really lucky, your parents would bring home Swiss chalet. Dinner happened around the table, everyone present. No TV, No phones, just forks, scraping plates, and someone asking how your day went. And you'd actually answer. David pointed to the empty corner of the living room. After dinner, especially on Saturday nights, the real magic began. Right here, hockey night in Canada. Families gathered around the TV. You'd sit on the shag carpet, and when that theme song kicked in, you knew you were part of something bigger. The Beachcombers, King of Kensington, and the radio was always playing somewhere. Anne Murray, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Gordon Lightfoot, the soundtrack for lazy Sunday afternoons. He returned to the basement, sitting on the steps, the box beside him. He took out the old paper map and unfolded it. A route was circled in blue pen. Muskoka. Speaking of those station wagons, summer meant road trips. No GPS, just a paper map spread across your lap. The back seat was a battlefield of siblings. But once you hit the open road, windows down, freedom in motion. He closed his eyes, almost feeling the wind. Those cottage trips, they weren't fancy lakeside mansions, just small cabins. A wooden dock where you'd spend entire days diving in, climbing out. Campfires at night, the haunting sound of loons echoing across the lake. Those trips weren't about luxury. They were about disconnecting completely and reconnecting with each other. David folded the map. Back home, life settled into its comfortable rhythm. Weekday mornings smelled like toast and coffee. Milk from a bag. Your dad would grab his metal lunch tin. And you'd walk to school. School felt different. Teachers had real authority. You did your homework. You respected adults. Consequences were real. But honestly, most of us stayed in line because life was good enough. You had freedom where it counted. Afternoons, after school, grab a snack and head outside. Street hockey. Kick the can. This was childhood in 1970 seconds, Canada. David sighed. He looked around the empty, darkening basement one last time. This was my childhood. Simple, free, and somehow perfect in ways we didn't fully understand until decades later. When we tried to explain it to our own kids, his voice cracked. Because how do you explain the feeling of riding your bike with no destination? How do you capture the taste of milk poured from a bag or the sound of a rotary phone? How do you recreate that trust? That freedom, that sense that everything would be okay? He reached into the box and found the last item. A faded old photograph. Him, his mum, his dad, and his sister, all crammed into the wood-paneled station wagon. You can't. A single tear rolled down his cheek. You can only remember it. He gently placed the photo back in, along with the Super 8 reel and the map. He sealed the last box with tape. He stood up, picking up the box.
The autumn leaves turn red and gold.
Go back to
just like the memories
1975.
growing old.
The coffee's brewing. Gordon Lightfoot plays softly. And for one perfect moment, life was exactly what it should be. David switched off the last light. The house went dark. He stepped out the front door, taking one deep breath of the modern night air. He locked the door. The final click echoed. He placed the box in the trunk of his car, got into the driver's seat, and drove away, never looking back.